Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Tasmania's new cabinet has been sworn in, but the question is, how long for? The Premier now spelling out the possibility of an early election. The choice, he says, is in Elise Archer's hands.
Another trip to Government House.
Fantastic. We've all done this before. Well done.
Tasmania's new cabinet sworn in again.
Well, we're getting on with the job, and people can exercise themselves about what's been going on the last couple of days.
With lingering uncertainty over whether Elise Archer will stay in Parliament, the Premier's trying to talk tough, hinting at an election this morning.
There will not be an election if Ms Archer remains in the Parliament and provides confidence and supply. There will not be an election if Ms Archer resigns from Parliament, as she has stated she would do.
Before later taking to Twitter to demand she reveals her plans and claiming the only way Parliament returns is if one of those two things happen. What has been ruled out is a leadership challenge by Deputy Premier Michael Ferguson, who told 7 Tasmania News he's a team player, not a wrecker.
We have a government at the moment who is on every measure incapable of delivering on the things that are most necessary for Tasmanians.
Labor claims they're ready to campaign and to select candidates.
Labor's got a process, an expression of interest process open right now. We're, as the leader said yesterday, we're ready to go.
Even if a decision on David O'Byrne's potential candidacy is yet to be made. Who knows how long he'll be in the role, but the state's new Attorney-General was beaming, signing on to lead the Commission of Inquiry legislative response.
This is a priority for the government right here, right now, and for the months and years ahead. It's a very significant body of work.
Madeline Ogilvie overlooked for the role, while Nick Duigan's promotion leaves just 2 women in Cabinet.
When you look at the success we've had as a government of ensuring greater representation of women on boards, we are a party that embraces all and all opportunity.
In her parting swipe at the party, Elise Archer claimed the Liberals have a problem with ambitious women. One of this year's original defectors, Lara Alexander, agrees.
I don't expect everyone to jump to my suggestions and solutions, but at least to feel that you're listened to and not just patted on the head.
The Bass MP says instead of waiting for Elise Archer, the Premier could be calling an election himself. Along with John Tucker, the former Liberal backbenchers also have the power to topple the government by withdrawing supply and confidence.
It will come a point where if this circus continues the way it's been happening lately, we will have to stop and think and say what is most beneficial for the community.
A fractured Parliament looking more fragile than ever. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
In developing news, 3 people have sustained serious injuries in a 2-vehicle crash in the state's northwest. It happened early this afternoon on the Bass Highway at Rocky Cape, 2 kilometres west of Hellier Beach. The Westpac Rescue helicopter was dispatched. Drivers are asked to avoid the area or adhere to diversions in place until the scene has cleared. The state government had prior warnings about laws that may have allowed public servants involved in child sexual abuse to escape reprimand. 20 years ago, the Tasmanian Law Reform Institute recommended changes. Concerns were also raised by the Greens then, but the recent Commission of Inquiry claims it was unable to pursue some misconduct findings due to legal requirements.
It seems likely that if the government had adopted the recommendations from the Law Reform Institute, that the Commission would have had the tools it needed to be able to make findings of misconduct against public servants.
Our priority, number one priority, as it always has been, is the safety of our children and young people.
The Commission issued 22 people with notices concerning misconduct, but only one final finding was made. The Prime Minister is again urging Tasmanians to join hands with Indigenous Australians when we go to the polls on October 14. The comments coming as Federal Cabinet visited Hobart today, with our state still considered a key battleground.
Out of Canberra and into the heart of the Apple Isle.
Colleagues, It's great to be back together in Tasmania.
The Prime Minister's 7th visit to Tasmania this year, having a larger than usual contingent, with federal cabinet joining the trip.
I want to make sure that our cabinet gets out and about with the people who we're elected to represent.
From Kingston to Hobart CBD to Warrane, ministers were out and about. The PM meeting with health students, promoting the government's fee-free TAFE agenda.
People who do nursing, who do early learning, who do jobs in construction, are in demand.
The prognosis of the Voice referendum also under the microscope, with Tasmania still considered a swing state. Mr Albanese once again pitched the benefits.
Give 3% of the population the opportunity to be heard. It's a handout from Indigenous Australians just asking for it to be joined.
Complicating matters, however, is division in local First Nations communities, with some on the no side. Linda Burney believes those are minority views.
There is an overwhelmingly majority of Aboriginal people, like Rodney, like this organisation, that are advocating a yes vote.
I would worry if I was on the side of Peter Dutton and Pauline Hanson. I think I would really be concerned.
Tasmania's other big flashpoint also on the table. Confusion remains about whether the Commonwealth's share of the Macquarie Point Stadium funding will be exempted. The Federal Treasurer playing a straight bat.
There is a process here. The Tasmanian government has written to us. We get Treasury advice on that.
The Prime Minister, meanwhile, is going home with one highlight, thanks to a local hens night.
The bride-to-be had a cardboard cutout of her fiancé, something I haven't seen before.
Whether Australians leave him at the altar on October 14 remains to be seen. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Flinders Island is breathing a sigh of relief after a close call with an out-of-control bushfire. Light rainfall and easing winds helping efforts to contain the blaze as residents begin to assess the damage.
A tense night for locals as the Mount Tanner blaze continued to burn. At one point, conditions eased, but by early morning, locals woke to another emergency warning.
At around 5 o'clock this morning, the conditions again started to deteriorate and wind strengths increased, which caused the fire to flare up again and cause significant fire activity.
The panic spreading momentarily, with nearby Killicranky briefly placed on a watch and act alert.
Purely because the precautionary, if that wind continued to drive hard, it could accelerate the fire back in that direction.
But by this afternoon, some much welcome relief. A change in weather prompting authorities to downgrade the advice level to monitor conditions.
So we're really lucky that the rain has come, the wind has died down a bit, and yeah, they've been able to get control of it a little bit more. So people are able to get back into their properties, so that's really great news.
A tight-knit community on standby, ready to help a neighbour.
We do all come together, be it a crisis or be it a celebration. We do all come out and we really support each other.
A brush with emergencies serving as a wake-up call, a reminder to prepare your property ahead of time and revise your bushfire plan.
It's one of those things that people think, it's just not going to happen to me until it does. So yeah, this is really just a good reminder for people on the island that they need to take some preventative works.
A lesson for all to prepare for what's yet to come. Victoria Eastoe, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian company has marked a major milestone with its involvement in Melbourne's Westgate Tunnel project. The final steel beam has departed Western Junction, making its way to Devonport before being ferried across Bass Strait. Chris Brothers Haywoods have manufactured 69 individual steel bridge girder sections, equating to more than 145,000 hours work. A new monthly report using artificial intelligence has found Jeremy Rockcliffe is the most mentioned politician in Tasmania. Monitoring firm Geraghty & Madison has released its first media temperature report, showing health, housing and education are still dominating conversation.
If you listen to the radio, watch the TV news or read the papers sort of on a daily basis, you'd think it's all about the stadium or it's all about Metro or whatever, but it's the basics that people are really worried about.
The report uses AI to track what is a positive or negative mention. The Legacy Torch Relay has made its first Tasmanian stop, continuing a countrywide journey commemorating 100 years of supporting and empowering veterans' families. The torch passing through the streets of Launceston before arriving at the cenotaph for a lighting of the cauldron.
Our basic mission is to look after the families of deceased veterans, whether they have passed on during a conflict or subsequently.
The torch relay will pass through Ouse tomorrow before making its final Tasmanian stop in Hobart on Thursday.
Tasmania has had a mixed start to their opening Sheffield Shield clash of the season in Adelaide. The Tigers were on top in the morning session, reducing South Australia to 5 for 108 before lunch. However, Jake Lehmann took control for the Redbacks in the afternoon in a blistering display of batting. The SA captain eventually bringing up his ton off just 132 balls.
And there it is, the century for the Redbacks captain, Jake Lehmann. Came in with his side in trouble early at 3 for 46.
Lehmann, the last man out, with South Australia making 307 in their first innings. In reply, Caleb Jewell and Jake Weatherold made a fast start, but Weatherold's day ended on 12 with the opener out down the leg side. Tasmania trails South Australia by 227 runs with 9 wickets remaining a short time ago.
Good evening, Hobart. 23 degrees today, Launceston and Devonport just 17, Burnie 19, Dunalley and Campania our high with 24, temperatures over the southeast above average. Bushy Park and Friendly Beaches 20, Flinders Island 18, St Helens 17, Strawn and King Island reached 16 degrees, Lowhead just 15 and 12 today at Lyawini. A large amount of cloud covered the state today but contracted to the northeast in the afternoon. In the 6 hours to 3 p.m, Mount Victoria had 35 millimetres of rain, Mount Barrow 15. Cloud pushes from southeast Australia right up to southern parts of the Northern Territory. Some low cloud over the Queensland coast and southern WA. Tomorrow the cold front morphs into a deep low pressure system over eastern Victoria. A high builds to the west, holding off another cold front well to the south. Southwest to southerly winds at 10 to 20 knots, increasing to 30 knots in the afternoon and evening over the northeast. So a strong wind warning there from the northern tip of Flinders Island down to Wineglass Bay. Hobart, tomorrow a top of 16 and partly cloudy, 16 for Geefston as well. Bothwell, cloudy, 2 overnight, 15 the maximum. Launceston a high of 17 and partly cloudy. Same conditions for Devonport, but 16 the top and 16 the high also for Cressy. Burnie tomorrow 16 and partly cloudy, bit of sunshine over the west. Strawn 16, Curry on King Island sunny as well, 15 the top. And for St Helens 15, a shower or two, Swansea cloudy and 14, 15 the top for Orford. On Thursday, cool southerly winds across the state and a few isolated showers, more significant shower activity over the east and northeast. A shower or two over the west and south on Friday, falling as snow above 800 metres, another cool to cold day. And on Saturday, fine and partly cloudy after a morning frost over the central and north. Further north and mostly sunny and 22 in Perth, a cool day in Adelaide with a shower, even cooler and showerier in Melbourne, some heavy falls in Canberra and showers developing for Sydney and Brisbane. Partly cloudy at the moment, 16 in Hobart, 14 in Launceston, Devonport currently 14 as well. Welcome back from your short break, Kim. You're looking very refreshed. In fact, you're beaming, or is that the studio lights?
Always beaming, Viv, always. Good to be back. And that is all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Good night.